Did you know Spotify has a popularity score for every artist? It gives them a score from 0 to 100, which to me is ironic because Spotify manufactures popularity with its algorithmic and editorial playlists. From my perspective, Spotify has been chronically underrating some of the most talented artists and producers, which is why I decided to start this series. This is Slept On by Spotify. Welcome back for episode 3 of Slept On by Spotify, the show where I pay underrated musical artists to let me interview them and watch them work a little bit. If you haven't gotten caught up on episode 1 and 2 with Arthur and Medic and Low Poly respectively, do it now. I'm just gonna wait right here. Okay, welcome back. I go into more detail in episode 1, but the basic idea is that if you have less than 100,000 monthly listeners and your popularity score according to Spotify's API is under 50, you qualify to come on the show. In part A, you'll be able to see the casual interview that I do with the artists. In part B, you'll be able to see the more technical production session. If that wasn't enough for you, there's a part C where you get to see the unedited production sessions as well. I don't want to waste too much time before introducing the artist for this episode, but I did want to thank my buddy Sam Fitz for the drone work in that introduction. For this episode, I had the privilege of getting to know the up-and-coming hard dance producer, Water Spirit.
Vibe be the bullet, scratching on the microphone, vibe be the bullet. When we pull it.
The irony of that introduction that I did and the name Water Spirit really is that hard dance is anything but serene or tranquil. This episode was particularly fun to film because I would go so far as to say that I don't even like hardcore. Wait, stop booing me, let me explain. Slept On by Spotify is about supporting underrated artists, and I'm a filter for those artists. And I understand that I have biases. Biases? I am biased. Because of that, I generally want to make an effort to seek out genres that I wouldn't normally listen to because they are just as valid and, more importantly, just as slept on by Spotify. Let's bring it back to Water Spirit. They are a producer who has learned all of the rules for their subgenre, their very niche genre, and figured exactly how and when to break each of them. I had no idea going into the interview that hard dance had so many strict rules that you had to abide by if you wanted to be accepted by the genre Nazis of the world. They're not only bringing new flavors to the music itself, but consider themselves to be more of a designer and a crafter of a perfect brand. Everything from their metal logo to their 3D visualized teaser videos to their online presence in general is committed to the hardcore dance scene. Don't get me wrong, the music still needs to be good, and it is, but I can't help but be impressed that given hardcore is such a niche genre, especially for an American to be participating in, for all of these original songs on Water Spirit's profile to have 10,000 or more plays, including Aries, which is at 600,000, is just incredible. Once enough people are vaccinated and festivals start happening again, you're going to see Water Spirit on a lot of lineups, and it is well deserved. I had a blast sitting down and getting to know them a little bit. I hope you do too.
Me being named Water Spirit is actually this crazy double-edged sword where I get messaged by highly religious people every single day on Facebook asking me to grant them powers.
And what do you do?
I say nothing to them, even though I have friends that are like, "Oh, you gotta start sending them like links to like send money," but I'm not gonna like grift these fucking people.
No, yeah, you don't want to grift these people, but you can have a little fun and it's probably harmless, right? Like,
You say like, "How did you find me?" type shit, and like they're always just like, "Oh, Facebook," and it's like, yeah, no shit, that's what we're talking. But it's like, what the fuck is happening? Like, why do you think I can grant you like success in life?
religion is
It's
powerful.
It's so weird.
I'm so excited to have you here because I am very undereducated in like hard dance in general. So I'm expecting to get schooled a little bit, especially because my first forays into hardcore were Scooter and or like night.
You're fucking pops. That's a great person to be the first guy.
Yeah, I mean, I just like somebody sent me like a whole collection of like iconic dance songs, and that like hard. It's just called hardcore, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
so there's
the hit song.
there's a lot of debate on like genre titling and hard dance specifically, because hard dance fans are like, I feel like the more obscure your genre is, the more like the fans of it are like, this is hard style, this is raw style, this is hardcore, this is hard dance, and like all that. But to me, it doesn't really matter. If I'm producing under 180, then I just call it like hard dance, even though technically it would be like considered probably raw style. But that depends on what type of kick you're making.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
I thought it
but,
was. I mean, I am not a genre Nazi at all. I think people watching this who are like really stringent about genres are gonna, unsubscribe pretty soon.
I mean, fuck them. Like, I hate people that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like scenes really shoot themselves in the foot when they're like gatekeeping genres all the time and stuff. It's kind of just like, well, if they call progressive house techno or whatever, like, who cares? Like, it's wrong, but who, like, let them enjoy themselves. It's not that big a deal.
There's a lot of like, for example, there's a lot of debate on like genre bending in the a lot of debate on genre bending in hard dance, and like the real like old head hard dance fans are like, do not throw in any other fucking genre if it's not four on the floor, all about the kicks the entire time. Like, I do not want to hear it. Like, to like a like violent level, not violent necessarily, but like I know somebody who was like trying to start like hard step, which was like supposed to be like hardcore and dubstep. So like hardcore first drop, maybe goes into like a halftime, and then dubstep the second drop, and she got like death threats after she played her first festival.
Oh my god. Do you feel like that's just which communities? Because I feel like hardcore in general is sort of like a really international, somewhat like European focused thing.
I feel like the Dutch people are like super into just like traditional hardcore, like that is their thing and they love it, and that's dope. And then in America, it's like such a minority scene that like there's a lot of experimentation right now, and it's still in its like baby phase. The thing that hard dance has going for it in America is that like it has very established like companies like buying into it and making sure they have a festival stage, and like they're getting international acts and like all this other stuff, which is BaseCon, which is the company that kind of supports the whole American hard dance scene and like really champions them.
You and your roommates like are all creatives, and I know you threw a lot of shows when shows were happening. Is that like the desirable venue in which, like, do you expect your audience mostly to want to hear hard dance out at venues and at shows and at festivals, like on drugs? Like, what is the target audience doing when they're listening to hard dance?
I don't know particularly what the target audience is. Like, I feel like, well, it depends. If we're talking about like shows that Ben throws, I know, okay, we're not gonna like hit 200 BPM till like the very end. I'm gonna save it. It's a very like, that crowd is there for like a more of a house vibe. but I will like throw in like psytrance and other hard dance adjacent genres to still like get the 4 on the floor like type energy going, and like some Cyril tracks and whatever. But if it is a show that is like more of like an actual house show, like in a house show, or in a smaller venue, or people that are like more attuned to my music, then like I don't know, I just hope they enjoy it. I don't really know exactly what they do in terms of like if they're on drugs or off drugs. That doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah, that makes sense. I love the way you've crafted your branding. Your imagery is all really, really cohesive. Do you do all like the 3D modeling and visual stuff? Is that all done by you personally?
Yeah, so basically for every release, like my process is this: I make a song, I get it mostly done, and then I get it mixed and mastered. Sometimes I send it to my friend Course, who's super good, and then sometimes I do it myself, and I try to get as close to what a Course mix would sound like, and I'm still working at that. But and then immediately after that, I have to create the cover art, which is usually just some picture of me that is from a photo shoot, or just a random picture of something I took while I was like walking around or whatever. And then I do like some 3D assets. I usually do the text in Cinema 4D and model some other random stuff, and then I just go in at it and do the whole Photoshop thing and finish the cover art, and then send it off to my manager, and then my manager puts it up and tells me the date that it's going to be released, which is usually 2 weeks after I send it to him, so all the distribution can do that. And in those 2 weeks, I slowly through the 2 weeks, my computer's really slow, so when I'm rendering 3D models, I have to make it during the daytime, and then I run the render during nighttime because it's going to take way too long, and my computer's going to be super shitty during that. So between those 2 weeks, I try to get maybe 14 or 15 scenes done in Cinema 4D, and then I edit that into the promo and then the pre-promo, and that's one song.
Damn. That is like a very systematic approach. Are you all in on like singles right now, or do you feel like there's still value in putting together an EP or a longer form release? Last
year was about all singles. I was like, okay, I'm gonna hit this year's singles, and then I think at the end of the year I was like, man, I really only got like a little under 10 tracks done that year. So this year I might want to do like some dual releases, or maybe throw like a remix up somewhere in between the single releases. And my whole thing with EPs and albums is just that like when I do end up doing it, I want it to be like really special. So I want to make sure I'm at a point in my career that like, okay, I can make this exactly what I want it to be and have it be really impactful, or impactful to me, whether it's impactful to other people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, this whole series is kind of poking fun at Spotify, which has a lot of power in making artists and music popular or not. But one of the real negative effects to me has been them crafting this algorithm that demands so much in such a specific release cycle for artists that I think is a little bit like, well, I mean toxic is not the right term, but it's certainly not like liberating for artists to feel like, oh, I need to put out a song every week, and it needs to be like 2 minutes or 2 to 3 minutes or whatever. And like, I understand that albums were made the length that they are kind of because of vinyl, but really platforms are revoking permission for expression, and that to me is like a really dangerous path, because as soon as artists are like, well, if I don't do things this way, then I'm not going to get any plays or money. Yeah, no, it was interesting to go through your profile a bit today. I listened to like basically everything you have on Spotify, and what I noticed is that just from a play count thing, and this is obvious, this, you have like, first of all, you have like over like 10,000 plays on almost all your original music, which is just incredible, especially as somebody who makes a more niche genre on average. But the big standout being Aries, right? I know that it popped off a little bit on like TikTok. Was that something that you knew was happening, or did you?
No, I just woke up one day and somebody was like, "Yo, your song is on TikTok," and I was like, "Word?" And then I looked at the video, and it was at like I think like 200,000 likes at the time, which to me was still like huge. And then that video went on to get like 10 million plays, 3 million likes, and a bunch of other people started using the same format that the person had put up in their original video, and it still like wasn't like a TikTok blow up by any sense of the word. Like it was absolutely just kind of like a minor thing in terms of TikTok. To me, in my life, it's like huge, but
Yeah.
it got like 2,000 something people making videos to it, and it kind of put me way more on the map than I was originally expecting, which was cool because like I got a manager maybe like a couple months before then, and the first thing my manager was like, "We got to get those Spotify numbers up, so we're gonna work really hard at that." And then somehow through fate or chance, definitely chance, not fate, but through chance, I was able to get like a really big Spotify following, or big to me.
Yeah, no, I mean, for an independent musician, it's like super impressive. And I know you've like been in this scene for a minute, and do you enjoy working with other artists in the space? Like, are you a fan of collaborating in general?
I'm super fan of like doing collaborations as kind of like a branding thing, as kind of putting music out, being like, hey, I'm with these people. These are the people I like to make music with, and we're mutually sharing each other's audience. I really like that aspect of it. If I think that I definitely create better alone 90% of the time. Like if I'm just in my room creating a song and I'm not really thinking about anything else except for creating the song, then I definitely do better than I would in a collaboration setting. Just because it's like I know everything's up to me, so I don't put anything on the other artist or think about anything about the other artist doing it. But I do have one person in life that I am just like super good at collaborating with, and we just have songs of every genre and everything. Who's Fortuneswan, who comes over to my house all the time, and we just crank shit out constantly because we're like the exact opposite producer. Like he's like a trained jazz musician who's like
Right.
all about music theory and all about like just his whole life he has only thought about like music. Like he was trained on guitar very young, and my life has been like music was an extreme afterthought where I didn't even pick up learning what BPM was until I was 18. And I was like a much more like visual and branding person because I originally started doing animation in high school, and I would animate videos and stuff like that and work for other YouTubers. And then we started needing music for each other's other shit. Like we started needing music for people's animation, so I was just like, okay, whatever, I'll start to make music, mostly as a joke. And then I was like, in my head, I was always thinking in the back of my head, like, it would be really funny if I just started taking music really serious. Like, I don't know.
Your whole music career was a joke to you to begin with?
Yeah, like, because I was making like shitty, like YouTube poop-esque, like joke songs where it was like a Skrillex song build up, and then at the end it would be just like pots and pan sounds or whatever. Like, and
yeah,
I always thought it would be really funny if I could like show my friends that, and then like 3 years later be like, look, I turned it into something. Like, oh, cool. So I thought that would be funny to me to try to do. And then slowly throughout that time, people were like, hey, your music is a lot better than your animations. So I was like, yeah. And then I saw like a better future in music for myself, and it became my fucking life after that. So
yeah. And I mean, not to mention your 3D like render work is there's like a nice niche that's happening right now where there's a lot of great free 3D rendering software that people are using, including like Blender. Cinema 4D is not free, I don't think, right?
I don't know if you should put this in the video, but it's free for me. Through like, it's really easy to pirate.
There are ways for software to be free.
Yeah. But no, it's expensive.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's funny you say that it's kind of like a joke to you to begin with, because I do see your sense of humor shine through. You have, multiple tweets pop off. I'll put up at least the one that I'm thinking of specifically, the EQ curve. So funny. So it somehow isn't surprising to me that your music career to you was like not something you were taking seriously early on. And I mean,
yeah. I mean, I take it way too seriously now. Like now it's like, you know, I would defend my music with my life and stuff like that. But early on, I was like, yeah, fuck it. Like, whatever.
Love that. Are you ready to see how popular Spotify thinks you are?
Absolutely not. So let's do it.
This is Water Spirits. On Spotify, you have 28,304 monthly listeners, which is within our threshold. Are you ready to see it? The access token expired. Brilliant. Now let's get a new one. One more time. 34.
I don't know what exactly that entails, but I'm proud of it.
You should be proud of it. To give you a little context, Bear Cave is at 12. Arthur was 21. Low Poly was 20. AG Cook is 51. Billie Eilish is 93. And this is between 0 and 100. And honestly, the vast majority of people are like 10 or under. So this is a great score, but I still think Spotify is underrating you, and that's why you're here. Cash App? Oh, fuck yeah, let's do Cash App. I haven't done it yet, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, it's always fun using a new currency. Love it.
All right, $100. Bam, there you go.
Oh yeah.
What you're about to hear is what Water Spirit made when we sat down for maybe 2 hours, 20 minutes or so. Part B of this episode is going to have the edited version of that production session, but if you really want to see all of the nitty-gritty details, definitely head over to my Patreon where you can get the unedited full 2 hours and 20 minutes. If you haven't followed Water Spirit already, their socials are in the description. Do it now. Do it now. Otherwise, enjoy this work in progress, and I hope to see you on the B-side.
Hatred and anger drive this world. Nations are fighting to maximize their power.
Kick it into overdrive. Let it bump heavily. Volume out, it better be. Throwing bones in the pit, knocking down dead to me. Let it bump heavily. Volume out, it better be. Throwing bones in the pit. Suck it dead, bitch. Let it bump heavily. Volume out, it better be. Throwing bones in the pit. Suck it dead, bitch. Let it bump heavily. Volume out, it better be. Throwing bones in the pit. Suck it dead, bitch. Let it bump heavily. Volume out, it better be. Throwing bones in the pit. Knocking down dead to me. Knock it down, who's next to me?